Nigerians are expected to seek out the best. 2 words to describe the activity.
The Yoruba Unity Forum is conducted.
Be the first to know. From the north, south, east, west and around Africa.
Presidential
we break the news. Now you can catch all the actions live as the news breaks. We are Core TV News.
Welcome to Core TV Primetime
News. A 24-hour news station.
An African proverb says the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is today. So if you've got a dream in your heart, come on, make it happen today. You can't wait yet another day. I am Nifemi Ogutoye. Welcome to today. It's Monday, a beautiful day here in Lagos, and I'm sure that it's going to be a beautiful week for you. All you need to do is follow the dream in your heart and make it happen. Saturday was Valentine's Day, okay? If the elections were not postponed, we should have been done with the presidential elections by now. Many sharp guys had that excuses for their lovers. But then, INEC came up with one excuse, and elections are now to hold, the presidential elections are now to hold on March 28th of this year. But how did you spend your Valentine's Day? I was at home all through. I couldn't face the crazy Lagos traffic after I've spent an extraordinary week on the show. So let's go to Ibadan, where one of our correspondents, Omotayo Alo, found out the atmosphere and the mood of the Ibadan people on Val's Day. Let's find out what he got for us.
Getting ready to enjoy some of what it takes and the fun attached to celebrating Valentine in Ibadan here. Join me on this ride. Valentine's Day, which holds every 15 February across the world, is a day dedicated to celebrate togetherness and love. In the spirit of celebration, most people dress in red attires, which is believed to symbolize the color of love, and climax the celebration with the exchange of gifts or going out to fun places with loved ones. In the words of this resident, Valentine's celebration goes beyond a one-day event, thus encouraging others to learn to extend their hand of love to people around them.
Valentine is about showing love, about expressing love, but not just for one day. It should be what we do every day for the rest of our lives.
Being a Christian, we're taught to, love ourselves like Christ loved us. So we don't have a choice than to show love every other day of our lives.
Being a day also tagged for exchange of gift items, these traders who had a lot of items on display say sales has not been encouraging.
We've bought a lot of things expecting better things, even to be better than last year. It's not encouraging.
Some are saying they have not been collecting salary, so there is no money.
On the other end, while many have criticized the postponement of the elections, these residents say they would rather be spending time with their loved ones than voting.
This day is dedicated for this and not for election, and it's supposed to be celebrated everywhere, all over the world. So being denied in Nigeria is just like being denied love.
I would rather be having fun like this than me voting.
Maintaining the day as Day of Love is cool.
In celebration of the day, even PVC collection centers were deserted as individuals sought various fun areas to celebrate a day which thankfully to most residents was not taken over by the previously scheduled presidential election. Residents in the third largest city in Africa, popularly known as OLUWOLE, have celebrated this year's Valentine's celebration with a lot of excitement, especially with the background of the general elections which was postponed away from today. While they wait for the elections to hold at some later date, their expectation is that people extend love to those who are not their family members, but those who truly need love, who are the less privileged in the society. Omotayo Alo, Core TV News, Ibadan.
Thank you, Omotayo. I'm not sure you celebrated Valentine except your lover was there with you on that particular assignment. But amazingly, Nigerians didn't go out to get their PVCs because of Valentine. I'm not even sure INEC officials showed up. looks as if everyone had something to take care of. Well, we're hoping that we'll all be able to spread the love, and not just to that singular special person, but then that patriotism, what they call the love for the dear country, our dear country, Nigeria, as we count down to the general elections. Now, let's get down to business. Over the weekend, former President Olusegun Obasanjo took his support for the opposition a step further. Of course, he's been showing some romantic relationship with the APC. Recently, he also made his support public as regards supporting the APC presidential candidate. But this time around, it seems to be hard on His Excellency, Mr. President, as he has accused him of nursing a sit-tight agenda in the presidential palace as regards the postponement of the 2015 general elections. Obasanjo, who made his assertion while addressing journalists in Abeokuta, Ogun State, also compared President Jonathan's agenda to former Ivorian leader Laurent Gbagbo, currently on trial for war crimes. He says the president has a plan to scuttle the electoral process and cause chaos in the country, as was done by the former Ivorian leader.
Gbagbo was the former president of Côte d'Ivoire. And Gbagbo made sure he postponed the election in his country until he was sure he will win. All reasonable persuasion and pleading was rebuffed by him, and he unleashed horror in that country until Nemesis caught up with him. I believe that we may be seeing a repeat of Gbagbo, or what I call Gbagbo saga, here in Nigeria. I hope not. It was a forced decision on the INEC because it was alleged that the security chiefs were unable to provide security. And as a result, the chairman of INEC had to postpone in accordance with the dictate of the so-called security chiefs.
So whose report will you believe? The former president, Olusegun Obasanjo's, or His Excellency, Mr. President, who on the presidential media chat last week and made it clear in that particular interview that even if he loses the 2015 general election, he is set to let go of power and inaugurate a new regime or a new administration, so to speak. Well, in a swift reaction to the insinuations made by the former president, the President Goodluck Jonathan campaign team, of course the People's Democratic Party presidential campaign team, has asked former President Olusegun Obasanjo to stop playing God over his numerous criticisms of President Goodluck Jonathan. Of course, the man at the center of it is Femi Fani-Kayode, the Director of Media and Publicity of the organization, who cites the former president, under whom he served as Minister of Aviation and Special Assistant on Public Communication, was only trying to play God. Fani-Kayode, while speaking at a press briefing in Abuja, says his former boss is trying in vain to control President Goodluck Jonathan. In the same vein, Trust the Ekiti State Governor Ayodele Fayose is also replied Baba on this issue. He says that the former president, Olusegun Obasanjo, is fighting President Goodluck Jonathan because he has been prevented from ruling Nigeria from his utter farm. In a statement issued by his Special Assistant on Public Communications and New Media, Larry Olayinka, the governor expressed confidence that Jonathan will be re-elected to complete his 8-year term. He says that the former president is also trying to destroy anything that he doesn't control, adding that he's a cancer that cannot be cured in a lifetime. Well, you recall the interview that General Muhammadu Buhari had with Christine Amanpour of the CNN, and she asked him what he thought about former President Olusegun Obasanjo's support for his presidential campaign. He's of the opinion that the former president is a major stakeholder in the Nigerian nation, someone that Nigerians listen to, and it's no doubt a formidable support for his campaign progress as we count down to the March 28 presidential election. So, is the Obasanjo mighty enough to pull the former general through? Only time will tell. Well, the All Progressives Congress is also coming back at PDP this time around. They are saying that everyone who is mortally afraid of the general elections, of course, they have accused the People's Democratic Party, I believe, in this report, of being behind the circulation of leaflets urging the people of Gombe State to stay away from the polling booths on election days or risk being in trouble. In a statement in Lagos by its National Publicity Secretary Lai Mohammed, the party says it cannot put anything beyond the PDP and the Goodluck Jonathan administration because of their desperation to ensure that the general elections do not hold at all costs. You recall that there were reports that Boko Haram was on rampage in Gombe, and they were leaving certain leaflets telling people not to participate in the forthcoming general elections. The party says even the attack on Gombe on Saturday was a suspect, wondering how Boko Haram insurgents would drive on the highway from Maiduguri to Gombe in a convoy of many vehicles without being spotted or stopped at the myriad of military checkpoints dotting the areas. APC also says that it was curious that the Boko Haram terrorists who have never mentioned the elections in their regular videos on YouTube suddenly started campaigning against the conduct of elections. Well, we'll touch more on insecurity and the forthcoming elections, and even indeed politicians will not drag Boko Haram into the forthcoming elections. Meanwhile, reactions have continued to trail the postponement of the February 14, earlier scheduled February 14 election. As a matter of fact, a particular group held a mock election that was yesterday, a day before yesterday, Saturday. And this time around, this recent reaction is coming from a group of activists in Lagos. These activists were led to the Gani Fawani Park in Ojota by Lagos lawyer Femi Falana. And they are saying that they will not accept any further postponement of the elections. As a matter of fact, they are of the opinion that the people of Nigeria were ready for the February 14 election.
Today was designed for the election. What we have done this afternoon is a symbolic protest against the postponement of the election, for which there was no basis. But we're also here to warn the government that will not accept any further postponement. Yes. And what has happened today is just a tip of the iceberg. We are just warning the government because we are going to go back to reorganize. Exactly. Yeah. Well, I think that is no longer news. I think it's now very clear that the postponement is deliberately designed to promote the extension of the tenure.
Last week, we played you an audio clip that one Sergeant Coley, I believe, if I got the name right, says that he recorded in a particular secret meeting held by some political stakeholders on the eve of the June 21 Ekiti election. This particular audio clip alleges to have recorded the voices of the present governor of Ekiti State, Ayo Fayose, the former minister of Defense, I believe State Defense, Musili Obanikoro, as well as the PDP gubernatorial candidate in Osun State, Senator Iyola Omishere, with some other military personnel. Well, in a swift reaction to all of these developing stories, you also recall that we put a call to Larry Olayinka, who happens to be the Special Assistant to the Ekiti State Governor on Communication and New Media. He was of the opinion that his principal was not even ready to, dabble into this issue or even talk about it in a time where everyone knows that we have very advanced technology which could call that recording fake. There are many reactions coming on this particular issue. Some have once reported that the Ekiti State Governor had said that he never attended such meeting. But I also saw a clip during the weekend where the governor said that if you hear the clip, what he was talking about was that he was condemning the role of the Nigerian military in the conduct of that election. But this time around, the Ekiti State Governor Ayodele Fayose has challenged ex-Governor Kayode Fayemi to prove how soldiers rigged the June 21 governorship election in his in his favor. I beg your pardon. Speaking with journalists in Ado-Ekiti, Fayose declared that he is ready to defend himself before a court of competent jurisdiction in what seems like a reaction to the interview granted by Fayemi on an Akure, Ondo State-based Adaba 88.9 FM that was last Thursday. Fayose says Fayemi is only playing to the gallery. You also recall that in that clip we played to you last week, that clip allegedly quoted the former Minister of Defense State saying to the soldier man that you know that I'm going to sit on your promotion, and then if you make me happy, then you can expect that everything will go on quite well. Quite a lot of grave allegations. Of course, that clip is subject to what they call forensic examination and analysis. Many are also asking, what is the opposition doing about such evidence? Why are they not going to court? Especially now that the Ekiti State Governor is saying right to their face that, come on, I can prove myself. Let's go to the court. Also, the PDP in the Southwest Zone has urged Fayemi to accept that he lost the election because Ekiti people simply rejected him. In a statement in the state capital, Ado-Ekiti, by the Publicity Secretary Dario Motosho, the party says the new angle to the All Progressives Congress propaganda is more like taking an illusion too far and testing the will of Ekiti people and Nigerians. You also recall that we were joined by the National Publicity Secretary of the APC last week on the same issue. And he was saying that beyond the legal indications, that his party is also considering the moral implication of this allegation. We had a couple of calls from Ekiti State where people and indigents of that state also contributed. Fayemi, in this particular interview, said some soldiers are ready to testify in support of the leaked audio file on how chieftains of the People's Democratic Party connived with the military to rig the June 21, 2014 Ekiti governorship election. I also had an interesting public affairs analyst who said on the show that, okay, how exactly did the soldiers rig the election? Did they bring people to vote? Did they change people's mind? How come Fayose won in all the 16 local governments? I believe I'm right, in Ekiti State. On the other hand, we also spoke with Barrister Festus Kayamo, who says that there is a procedure that they must follow if they would want to tender this as evidence in the ongoing Ekiti State Election Tribunal. But he was of the opinion that it will only take a blind or deaf man not to want to take this evidence very seriously. You're on to Call Digest Monday edition. I am Nifemi Oguntoye. We'll take a short break now, and I'll be back with top stories making headline on some of Nigerian dailies. Stick around. Don't go away.
The man on the streets have come to realize that the power to make decision lies in the hands of the people.
The president is the most guided person in Nigeria. And men getting to him is like, we all know it's a political propaganda, so I don't believe what he said is true.
But they are not just ordinary people.
Up to that time, when you look at Nigeria, Nigeria has been a confluence of a theater of anarchy, confusion, dichotomy, marginalization, and a lot of lamentations have been existing.
They are people of influence.
I'm not happy. How can my brother plan against me to kill me when you know that I'm in power to save you? I protected you to make things good for everybody in Nigeria. Not even I. Everybody in Nigeria.
And they are very, very important.
What we want now is who will salvage Nigeria. We are not interested in tribe or ethnicity or whatever. Who will save Nigeria?
The people, only on Core TV News.
Nigerians encourage corruption besides doing first off the punch newspaper. America's Nigerian Gardener Forum calls for Okonjo Iweala's page 2 of the Punch newspaper.
The dailies every day on Core TV News.
Thanks for joining us again on Core Digest this Monday. It's always a pleasure to have you join us on the show. Time now to review the papers. I have the Punch, I have the Guardian, the Vanguard, as well as the Nation newspaper for review this morning. Don't forget that you can follow us on Twitter at Core Digest Live. We'd love to hear from you on that platform as well. You can also watch us online. All you need to do is download the OLUWOLE TV application on any of your internet compliant devices, and just register via that platform, and you can also watch us from anywhere in the world. We kickstart with the Punch newspaper this morning. The big story here, much of the Punch newspaper has been sold out, so they just have a headline here: Jonathan Buhari may hold fence mending meeting. That's on page 2 of the Punch. And they're also counting down to the 2015 elections. It's 40 days to go. March 28 and April 11 are the dates. Female suicide bomber kills 10 in Yobe. That's on page 2 of the Punch newspaper. Now let's move quickly away from there to the Guardian this morning. The Guardian newspaper: Jonathan Obasanjo feud gets messier. The writer here: President may soon expose ex-head of state's alleged personal demands, says PDP. Ruling party's candidate likely to win, U.S. ex-envoy predicts. This thing about the U.S. predicting the winner of elections, they say it's very powerful, that when U.S. talks, you might want to believe what they are saying. But I'm sure there are lots of reaction to that. But because the Western media is also of the opinion that opinion polls are saying that it is a neck-to-neck prediction as of now. But let's see some other stories on the front page of The Guardian. Election postponement, never again. That's the editorial page on page 18 of The Guardian. It's day 308. Bring back our girls, says the Guardian newspaper. Female suicide bomber kills self, 8 others in Yobe. That's on page 4. Don't close schools for polls. Nance urges government. Page 7 of The Guardian. NBC cautions broadcast stations against inciting jingles. Page 8. And government orders restoration of affected workers' pay over a Ronsaye report. Staff members of abolished agencies to be redeployed insist on no funding for listed institutions. Let's move away from there and check out what's trendy on the Vanguard this morning. Obasanjo wants to run my government. Not mine. It's Mr. President, His Excellency, saying that on the front page of the Vanguard. The writer says that's the reason ex-president is attacking him. PDP pulls back plans to sanction Obasanjo. Northern governor chides him over attack on Jonathan. And then you have what they call the Bayelsa auto tragedy on the front page of the picture. It's another day you read a paper and it turns your belly. Oil price: Nigeria risks losing Asian markets to Arab producers. That's on page 9 of the Vanguard. Bayelsa auto tragedy: government declares 3-day mourning in honor of SSG's wife, other dignitaries. That's on page 13. Female suicide bomber kills 10 in Damaturu, on page 9 of the Vanguard. All right, Mr. and Mrs. is here, my favorite. I met your friend at the supermarket today. After exchanging pleasantries, he offered me a sachet of chewing gum. Me? Chewing gum? Please, when next you see him, let him know my worth. And then the man says, of course, I will tell him you are the best wife money can buy. All right, on the back page of the Vanguard for some sports this morning, Eaglets off to winning starts. Down the J20, Ideye, we have to keep winning. And Yobo eyes top-level football. Toure, I'm through with elephants. That's on page 63 of the Vanguard. Our last point of call is The Nation this morning, where APC accuses PDP of secret push to install interim government. The writer here, PDP disowns anti-polls leaflets. And Air Force tests its new tools in Lagos. And to other stories on the front page of The Nation, Fayose admits voice in Ekiti rigging audio tape. Ladoja faults Oyo INEC's plan to use NURTW INEC to prosecute voters with fake PVCs, and PDP leaders seek Obasanjo's suspension. You get details of all of that on pages 2 to 9, 58 and 60 of The Nation newspaper. And that wraps it on the dailies this morning. You can get any of your choice, and don't forget that at 11 o'clock on the DOT, we'll be back with bringing you up to date with stories as they break in Nigeria. We'll take another short break and we'll be back with you. Don't go away.
This morning, Nigerians encourage corruption, cites June 1st of the Punch newspaper. America's Nigerian government forum calls for Okonjo Iweala's resignation. Page 2 of the Punch newspaper. The dailies every day on Core TV News.
It's another beautiful and exciting moment.
Welcome to Political Arena,
The most detailed and incisive political show.
You will see all sorts of politicians, even those who cannot manage their homes. We tell you to let them manage your lives. Look well, shine your eyes.
So stomach infrastructure is a way of life. Even if I cannot do anything, and I continue to help your stomach so that your life will keep on going. Stomach infrastructure is a way of life for me.
I should ask you, what is going right in this country? Is it education? Is it security? Infrastructure? Is it healthcare? What is going right? Absolutely nothing.
We mean to win Lagos. PDP is going to win Lagos in 2015.
INEC has colluded with the presidency, the opposing party, to rig this election from the data to the end.
The 2015 general elections must be the best.
the good, bad, ugly and beautiful sides of the Nigerian political system. Join me every Sunday at 9:15 p.m. on Core TV News.
Welcome back. It's Core Digest Monday. A lot of talk about insecurity in northern Nigeria, especially now that it has become a major reason why INEC had to postpone the February 14 election. Mr. President was hopeful in the presidential media chat that the 14 local governments presently under the rulership, so to speak, of the Boko Haram insurgents, there would be taken back before March 28. But then, all that very sad stories that came up in the course of the weekend. This one is from Damaturu, where a female suicide bomber has been reported to have killed at least 10 people at Damaturu Central Motor Park, a bus station in the northeast Nigerian city. Yobe State Commissioner of Police Marcus Danladi said that 32 people were injured in the attack. Witnesses say the assailant entered the station in a vehicle, got out and walked towards a small grocery at the end of the terminal. According to one shop owner who prefers anonymity, she then positioned herself in the crowd outside the store and blew herself up, said one shop owner at the station. If they had said that this will happen in Nigeria some decades ago, I mean, I could have bet my money on it that a female suicide bomber, will now be a thing we read almost daily on the front pages of the paper. Well, let's go to Kano very quickly, where the Nigeria police have also confirmed the killing of 2 gunmen suspected to be Boko Haram members in Kibiya local government area of the state. The command's public relations officer, ASP Magaji Majia, confirmed the incident in an interview with newsmen in Kano. He said the incident occurred late Saturday afternoon, about 5:30, when gunmen numbering about 6 stormed the police station on 2 motorcycles, but the police repelled the attack. A local governor by the name Kala Motari has also confirmed that several dozens of people suspected of having links to Nigeria's Boko Haram have been arrested in southern Niger since the start of cross-border attacks by the Islamist group a week ago. The suspects, according to Motari, have been sent to an anti-terrorist unit in the capital, Niamey. Boko Haram launched a series of cross-border attacks in Niger's remote Difa area on February 6. The region is across the border from northeastern Nigeria, Boko Haram's stronghold. I'm joined this morning by the red-capped analyst himself, GBOLA OBA, joining us on the show this morning. Good morning, GBOLA.
Thank you very much.
Happy New Week to you.
Same to you.
Now, there's a coordinated, what they call a regional force on a special operation that kick-started on Saturday in the bid to fight Boko Haram insurgency in Nigeria. In the light of all of this disturbing news, how hopeful, how optimistic are you that we are on the path of a definite solution to this problem?
A definite solution? That may be a bit delusive of you to have asked that question.
How do you mean?
Even the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria said that all we can hope for is to make sizable inflection into the problem that the Boko Haram presents. He did not say in his media chat that Boko Haram was going to be totally defeated. So a definite solution is a bit of not even America and all the Western forces have been able to orchestrate a definite solution in the Levant, Syria and part of Iraq, where ISIS is operating.
Are we looking at a hopeless situation, Bola?
It's not hopeless. It's just it's something that is it's something that can be managed. People manage well. Other governments manage it in some other parts of the world. They're managing it in Somalia. They're managing it in Kenya. They're managing it in Egypt. They're managing it even Syria, where there is a civil war of a sort. Is managing it. Iraq is managing it. The part of Iraq that is dominantly controlled by the Kurds, they're managing it. Is an unfortunate phenomenon that has one of the major religions of the world. And we've seen this before, from another religious angle. There was a time in the 80s, in the late 70s and the 80s, when it was when Christian rebellion of a sort was fashionable in Latin America, and the Catholic Church was divided between the conservative Catholics and Catholics who believed that the church also should be helping in promulgating the fight against despots. And there were a number of Latin American countries then where you had Catholics who were literally contending with. This is as a result. If you look at the countries that are plagued by this phenomenon, they are countries where governance over the years, governance has failed. There are countries where, you know, the central authority has lost control of some of the peripheral spaces of the country's territories. Talk of Nigeria, talk of Cameroon. Cameroon, the president of Cameroon has been there for about 30 years now. You know, talk of Niger, talk of Chad. You know, so basically, a number of global occurrences too have helped to spoil it. In the past, Muammar Gaddafi used to be the warehouse for rebellious characters across the continent. He had a training program for them, he was paying them, he was giving them some good largesse, he kept them in camps where they... But you see, since the fall of his government now, not only Libya has degenerated into a state of anarchy and chaos, some other countries too across the region are literally being afflicted by remnants or people who no longer have such warehouses, you know, to stay in. So we are where we are, but I know confidently, I'm very confident that it's a phase.
Let's look at this international relationship that exists among these West African countries, especially what they call the regional force that has just been activated recently. You recall that there seems to be a tweet disagreement between Niger and Nigeria on Twitter, where it was said that someone from the Niger nation says that their own soldiers do not run away from Boko Haram like the Nigerian soldiers do. And then we have the spokesman of the Nigerian military quickly reacting to that on his Twitter handle, saying that Niger is but a small country, and you know, it looks as if there seems to be a disagreement. What impact do you think this would have on this ongoing coordinated attack by these countries?
If the countries love themselves, they will make sure that they further consolidate the synergy that they brought to bear against Boko Haram now. That is the best they can do for themselves. Tweets are tweets. One happy-go-lucky responsible officer, say in the Nigerian army, probably had his finger twitching and he sent out the tweet. It would have been imperative and compulsory and necessary for the Nigerian side to respond. So they must have responded. But the truth is that Niger, Chad, and Cameroon are now also in the line of fire. And they'll be doing themselves a lot of good to make sure that on this occasion they're not burnishing egos, and they're not treating Nigeria with ridicule. And the reason is just because they are far more vulnerable than Nigeria is, because we have a region of Nigeria about the size of Belgium that is now, you know, if you look at the combined distance of Adamawa, Borno, Yobe, part of Gombe, you know, it's about the size of some of the countries we know in the world. And yet activities are going on in parts of Nigeria, other parts of Nigeria, southeast, southwest, especially Lagos, as though nothing is happening. So they need to be very, very cooperative. They need to make sure they reprimand or reproach their officers, the officers of their armies who may want to be tendentious and be and be braggadocious. They need to be very, very level-headed, because the cooperation, outstanding cooperation this time around is as important for them as it is for Nigeria.
Mr. President says he's always worried whenever he heard unexpected public utterances being made against the Nigerian military. As a matter of fact, he says that Nigerians must learn to respect members of the nation's security forces because while they are asleep in their houses, the security men are on the streets making sacrifices. Would you agree that the Nigerian people have not been supportive enough, especially in their own estimation of the average Nigerian soldier?
Nigerians wish their soldiers well. Nigerians wish their armies well. Like all human beings, when you hear untoward stories or when you hear untoward and indeed morally lacerating stories from camps where you ordinarily have where you ordinarily place your support, you are bound to be somewhat disillusioned, or you are bound to sometimes go beyond disillusion and indeed want to ask questions. You see, when people say support our army, we naturally support those things that are ours. It is in the nature of man to naturally support those things that are his. But you see, when you are confronted with irrefutable and profound facts telling you that there is a tradition or there is a sub-tradition that are inconsistent to what prevails in normal this thing, you want to ask questions. So that people are asking questions does not mean that they are not patriotic, does not mean that they don't support their soldiers. I know, and I've said it several times on this platform, that I know that our boys are not cowards. The contemporary history, indeed, the history of the Nigerian army tells me that I can only work on established facts. The history of the Nigerian army tells me that our boys, our soldiers are not cowards. From Congo, from Congo to peacekeeping services in Lebanon, across the world, then come to Nigeria's intervention in Liberia, in Syria alone. Our boys are not cowards. They're not. Our army has earned the respect that it has in the global community as we speak. Senior Nigerian army officers are still being appointed by the United Nations for peacekeeping and strategic roles.
Now maybe that is why the average Nigerian would also want to ask questions that if we're doing very well outside the shores of this country,
fantastic,
why can't we duplicate same
because here? We know that under good leadership, political and military, we've done it several times before. So if we've done it several times before under a relatively more disciplined leadership, political and military, why are we not doing it now? What changed? Where did it all fall apart? So asking questions too is part of progress. Asking questions too, is part of a culture of development.
Are we getting the answers to the questions you said we're asking?
We have a bunch of leaders now, political and military, who don't know that democracies gather their strengths from the ability of intelligent people, irrespective of their partisan dispositions, and the abilities of intelligent people to ask the critical questions. Why are we doing this way when others do this way? Okay, we are doing it this way because this is our own circumstance. Our resources are limited, our this thing and this thing. But you know what? We will also factor in the fact that you are asking that question and probably do it in a way that will accommodate some of your points that our circumstance can countenance. you see, I was reading a friend yesterday and I shook my head. What, the level of intellectual morass we may be finding ourselves. He is an entrepreneur in a unique area, or he's an entrepreneur in the tourism industry, and he believes that because we are having our politicians, because we are having our politicians shouting at each other, seeming to be lambasting each other, seeming to be stigmatizing each other, the brand Nigeria may be stigmatized, outside. That okay, is that some are treating these elections as though immediately the elections are over, some of the things they've said, they can withdraw it. Look, in democracies, questions are asked. In democracies, points are made. And, it is only in facile and very degenerate democracies that everybody agrees and just listen. Even the Yorubas have a saying that when you have children of the same parents, go in a room and conclave to discuss an issue, if they come out smiling, it's because they've told themselves lies. If they told themselves the truth, they will come out with frowns on their faces.
Let's consider in this discussion the kind of help that Nigeria has gotten from the international community. Recently, I believe on Saturday, Mr. President also appealed to the United States for greater assistance in the fight against Boko Haram Islamists, according to the Wall Street Journal. But the amazing part is that this was the same Nigeria that stopped and halted the trading services of the U.S. For its army in December last year. How do you put all of this together?
I am of the opinion that we tend to over celebrating America's omnipotence. Decision makers in Nigeria, analysts in Nigeria tend to be over celebrating America's military omnipotence. Yes, America's military budget is the biggest in the world. Yes, America's military budget, if you combine if you combine 7 or 8 countries who are the 9 altogether with America, most powerful countries on the face of the earth, their military budget is not up to America's. Yes, that's true. But the truth is that America too is going through a strategic phase of its militarism where, they are also bringing back, they're bringing back their forces from disparate areas of the world, because in almost 20 years, America has fought many wars in many fronts and resources have been stretched lean. So, I want to believe that Nigeria ordinarily, we did it in the past without the help of America, is it? Can't we do it again without the help of America?
But many are also questioning the ties, the diplomatic ties that exist between Nigeria and America. Because at the time, you recall that the Nigerian ambassador, the U.S. ambassador, is a Nigerian ambassador in the United States, talked about the United States not willing to sell arms and ammunition to Nigeria, given reasons of human rights violations.
They gave you a reason for that. And the reason given is that the culture of human rights, this thing noticed amongst your forces, is inconsistent with, they have a law. There is a law in America that says America can only sell arms to a nation where the people who will use those weapons, will have a level of respect for human rights. And when you are in a country where an AIG says if they kill one officer of this force, he will kill 20, whether those 20 are connected or not connected, he will kill 20. you want to be reticent to sell arms to those people because, come to think of it, in other jurisdictions, that officer would at least minimally be reprimanded, or in some places he would have lost his uniform. Let's be very honest with ourselves. It's easy. I see a lot of people wanting to stigmatize America on this, wanting to castigate America. Look, did America get us to this point?
Let me read this excerpt.
Was America the ones breeding? Was America breeding the one breeding Boko Haram?
In Mr. President's word, President Goodluck Jonathan, he says, "Are they not fighting the ISIS? Why can't they come to Nigeria?" He told the newspaper, I believe the Wall Street Journal, in an interview that was published on Friday, "They are our friends. If Nigeria has a problem, then I expect the U.S. to come and assist us." How would you describe the ties between your country and the United States at this time?
Nothing special. Just
a minute.
Look, what is the difference between the ties between Nigeria and America, and the ties between say Ghana and America?
Let me quickly show you a documentary. This was
American president was coming to Africa. He deliberately avoided Nigeria, went to Ghana, went to Tanzania, went to South Africa. So didn't you know then that somewhere in the calligraphy of American relationship with Africa, Nigeria is a dot below the cross on the T of Ghana?
Bella, let me show you an excerpt from a documentary, and this was Nigeria Prime Minister Abubakar Tafawa Balewa's visit to the United States of America in 1961. We'll just take a short excerpt from that, and then we'll be back. Stick around, don't go away.
July 25th, 1961. America is waiting for the arrival in Washington of the Prime Minister of the Federation of Nigeria, Alhaji Sir Abubakar Tafawa Balewa. Prime Minister Balewa is making an official visit to America at the invitation of the President of the United States, John F. Kennedy. Waiting at the airport to greet him are Vice President Lyndon B. Johnson, Secretary of State Dean Rusk, Mr. Joseph Palmer, the American Ambassador to Nigeria, and other high-ranking American officials. Accompanying the Prime Minister is Minister of Foreign Affairs Nwachukwu, Ambassador Udochi, and Minister Shagari and Benson, and other key members of the Nigerian government.
Mr. Prime Minister, I am honored to welcome you and the distinguished members of your party to the United States. This welcome is only the beginning. You will find as you travel through this country a very deep and genuine interest in the exciting developments which are taking place in your country and in Africa today.
I am very pleased to be with you in Washington today, and I look forward to the week which we are to spend among you. I have no doubt that the American people will receive us with all the kindness that they all receive strangers. This is just a brief reply to your very warm address of welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, that's Abubakar Tafawa Balewa's visit to the United States, I believe, in 1961. Amazing welcome that he got there. As a matter of fact, at some point in that documentary, Americans were on the street waving their hands to him. How would you describe Bola really, if this same diplomatic tie that existed in yesteryear still exists between these two countries today?
4 years after that recording, some of your adventurous young military officers terminated the democratic regime. You had 10 years again of military rule. 10 years after, a second democratic republic, a second democratic dispensation was entered into. 4 years down the road, that democratic listing was terminated. You had a bunch of military officers, some who literally took this country's image to the gutters. You know, Nigeria became, when I was a student in England, let me give you a typical example. I was reading one day in the library of Westminster University and I saw people jubilating. People jubilating. I didn't know what was happening. And somebody came to me. Actually, a guy of Indian descent, and he tapped me. Are you not a Nigerian? I said, yes. He said, your head of state is dead. And they were celebrating in some parts of London. That was how bad some of you people, they've gotten you people down. So don't delude yourselves by showing footage of 1961, wanting to use it as a benchmark, given all the waters that have passed under the bridge, wanting to use it as a benchmark to measure your relationship with America.
This waters
I told you that the president of America, the first black president of the United States of America, came to Africa recently, and he deliberately avoided coming to Nigeria, but he went to Ghana. The size of Ghana, the whole of the size of Ghana is barely the size of Western Nigeria. And you want me to shock you? If you put the Ghanaian economy against, if you juxtapose the Ghanaian economy relative to the Lagos economy alone, the GDP of Lagos is almost the size of the GDP of the whole of Ghana. And you're telling me this is historical, you want to fantasize, you want to romanticize and stroke your viewers? That's okay.
No, the question I'm really asking is what has happened? On whose shoulders would you say lie the responsibility?
I gave you a chronological, historical destiny now. When you terminate democratic governments, Americans don't like it. Western democracies don't like it. Let me give you a typical example. A recent development between Nigeria and America. The American foreign, the State Department in America had to give a release a couple of days ago. And you know what the release was? The postponement of our election. They felt it was manipulative. Between us in Nigeria, you know, given which side of the divide you are, you may think it's manipulative, you may think it's security related, but you see, in their own jurisdiction, once something has been said, they like to see those things implemented. And they felt it was a mild abuse of the rule of law, although the shifting was still within the context of the constitutional dictate for elections. But they didn't like it. So, they made an official press release. Nigerian government was not happy about that. So when you look at the historical calligraphy of how this thing is being scripted from post that visit of Sir Tafawa Balewa, you will discover that at some point we've seen the nada, but we are now bouncing back up in the relationship together, you know, both America and Nigeria. But as a Nigerian, and as somebody who has defined this maxim for so long a time, and it has worked well for me, I don't blame others for my foibles. GBOLA OBA should be the primary source of articulating a correction to anything that is taking me down.
Let's quickly bring all of this back to where we started. Insecurity and the 2015 general elections. Many have made reference to elections holding in Afghanistan and Syria. How successful those elections were, we cannot confirm here. But how rarely do you foresee a situation where we conduct a successful election in this kind of unique security challenge?
If we have on paper 774 local governments,
that's right,
and we have lost just one by ceding a region of Nigeria to Bakassi, by ceding it to Cameroon. So on paper, we have like 773, and out of 773, we have about 14, less than 20 altogether, in a state of war, quote unquote. If you work out the percentage of 14 out of 774 or 773, you will discover that it is not so much a territorial loss, or it is not so much a territorial space that will make us reduce the implementation of democratic tenets in the larger area of 760 or 759 local governments. Yeah. Am I making a point? Yeah. You're having just in about 14 local governments. So you want, because of that, to asphyxiate democratic existence in the larger area of the country?
Let's get to the phone lines, Bola, this morning before we wrap up this segment. Hello, good morning. Welcome to Call Digest.
Good morning, my brother. This is Tochukwu from Anambra.
Good morning,
Hello, Tochukwu.
Good morning, Mr. Bola.
Hello, my brother. How's Anambra today?
Fine.
Please go ahead with your contribution.
Yes, I want to first of all react to the recent and the persistent outlaws by OBJ. I think OBJ should be called to caution with due respect, because it does appear that he's being disgruntled. In a situation whereby a past leader he always takes to the media to castigate the incumbent of which he was. It's totally unacceptable. Don't forget, it is this same OBJ under his regime that they said that in the history of this country, an elected governor was kidnapped. That is the person of Dr. Chris Ngige. And although that he was kidnapped, he used the instrumentality of INEC headed by who after them to deny a clear mandate that was won by the then by Governor Peter Obi on Africa. So I think Obasanjo doesn't have any moral right to even allege that Goodluck, Jonathan, is manipulating INEC like he suggested. And again, Nigeria should not forget that it was this same Obasanjo was the architect of do or die political activity in this country. So why I'm highlighting all these things is so that
I'm afraid we lost that call, Tochukwu. I was waiting for you to come down to what we're discussing now. But we have to wrap this up now.
It's a very valid. It's also a very valid.
I understand it's quite valid.
I was wondering why you didn't take me that.
Why I didn't take you up on that issue?
And to be honest with you, essentially I agree
because
with
I have no business with that issue this morning.
I think the problem, let me chip in one liner to watch. I essentially agree with Tochukwu, and I think the problem of Nigeria too is essentially one caused by people like you, journalists. Look, do you still see American journalists going to go and beg Jimmy Carter to be talking on do you see American journalists milling around Jimmy Carter to be talking about American elections? Jimmy Carter, and you know what? Obasanjo has been in our political space even before Jimmy Carter.
Obasanjo is an elder statesman. Doesn't he have a right to hold the press briefing?
He needs to shut up. So an elder statesman, let him carry himself.
I wouldn't refer to an elder statesman and an ex-president like you are.
Let him just keep his peace.
Let's take this call. We're not even talking about former President Obasanjo now. So let's just attempt to go back to our point of discussion. Finally, how would you describe the role of the electorate at this time in juggling two things at the same time? 1 minute, we are being told to ensure that we participate actively in the ongoing war against terrorism by intimating security agencies about developments in our area. At the other side, we are also being asked to go out and do our civilian duty of casting, our civic duty, so to speak, of casting the votes. How do we balance these two concepts?
The two are not mutually exclusive. The two responsibilities or objectives you've defined now, they're not mutually exclusive. Indeed, they are very, very related. One of the responsibilities, one of the civic responsibilities you owe any society you live in is the peace of that society. And the greatest mechanism to foment peace in any society is by being observant. Observant, if you notice anything that is inconsistent with normalcy, tell people who are in authorities. And if you're doing that, you're not doing that because you want to be altruistic, you're doing it because self-preservation is the first principle of life. So you are also self-preserving yourself. That's number one. Number two is that democracies are built on the power of participation by the electors, the electorate. You will be playing an irresponsible card, especially at a critical juncture like this in Nigeria, not to want. Look, INEC in most places now have all the cards there. It's been the people who have not been too enthusiastic to go and collect their cards. The cards are there. So if you really want to see a prosperous, better Nigeria, this is a critical juncture where your passionate engagement with the system to see the articulation of how your implementation of your civic responsibility is very imperative.
Thank you very much, GBOLA, for joining us today on the show.
Hello, good morning.
Let me just take one more call. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning. I'm calling you from Benin.
From Kogi. What's your name?
Benin. My name is Ogbe, please.
Okay, good morning, Ogbe. Please go ahead with your contribution.
Yeah, my contribution is I just want to say something to the guest there, Mr. Bella. Good morning, sir.
Morning.
Yeah, please, sir, you know, there's something you said now, and I begin to look at you and say, I've never seen this man act like this, and I believe maybe once in a while that is how it is. In the issue of Obasanjo, that is what brought my interest into this calling you now this morning. You discover that I believe a man that has been knows how the whole thing goes. You are Bola Oba now. You have said, I believe you have establishments where you operate, and there will be a time where you go, at least you have to give way for your children or any person to come in there. And when they are going wrong, I believe you have the right to say, do this right or do this like this. But to your own saying now, it's just like you should not speak again. It's time to expire. So because anything we say now, will always be used against us. Because some of you are saying what we're saying, you don't need to speak, you don't need to do this. So I just say it to you so that you should know and to speak, because I respect him so much. The reason why I respect him is that he knows how he brought up this man. And if he's speaking to this man like this, I believe he's not the reason why he's doing that. So for us out there, we should be wise. And just like the man there, presenter there was saying, he's another statement. So we should believe and take some little thing from it, but not to tell him to shut up. If that word is too harsh from you, I respect you a lot. For you to say that statement is not shut up or that kind of word to you.
Thank you very much, Ogbe, for your contribution. Good to hear from GBOLA. You have just 30 seconds to respond to that.
In so much as I want to concede to Ogbe that if you occasionally have a responsibility to encourage the people who are your successors in the right direction, you don't want to be seen to be a defined antagonist of your successors. Let them also have their field of play, because when you had your field of play, you couldn't countenance that. You refused to countenance interventions from others. After all, it's a tenured presidency. It's not going to be there forever. Worst case scenario is going to be voted out. Worst case scenario we'll have another 4 years. It's not going to be there forever. So, as an elder statesman, why is it that other presidents in other respectable jurisdictions or other former leaders seldom get involved in contemporary leadership this thing? Because they know that their time has passed.
It's all right. Thank you very much for your contribution on the show this morning. Good to have you always. We'll take a short break now and we'll take this discussion to another level if you stay with us.
From time immemorial, women have birthed life, shaped character, and by extension, influenced the society. Moremi of Ife, Emoten of Benin, Queen Aminat of Zaria, all women of influence and power.
Whether it's before election, after election.
How ironical. Women being so powerful, yet have few grounds in decision making.
I see you as a wife, and I see you as a wife to a man.
We are talking women in politics.
A woman will be bold enough to stand up and say, I want to become president of Nigeria.
Only on Core TV News.
You can now watch Core TV News live from anywhere in the world on our website www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to Core TV Primetime Days.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click Core TV, leave a space, then news. Core TV News, a 24-hour news station.
It's another beautiful and exciting moment.
Welcome to Political Arena, the most detailed and incisive political show.
You will see all sorts of politicians, even those who cannot manage their homes. We tell you to let them manage your lives. Look well, shine your eyes.
So stomach infrastructure is a way of life. Even if I cannot do anything, and I continue to help your stomach so that your life will keep on going. Stomach infrastructure is a way of life for me.
I should ask you, what is going right in this country? Is it education? Is it security? Infrastructure? Is it healthcare? What is going right? Absolutely nothing.
We mean to win Lagos. PDP is going to win Lagos in 2015.
INEC has colluded with the presidency, the opposing party, to rig this election from the data to the end.
The 2015 general elections must be the best.
The good, bad, ugly, and beautiful sides of the Nigerian political system. Join me every Sunday at 9:15 p.m. on Core TV News.
Thank you for staying with us on the show this Monday. We're joined now by a veteran public affairs analyst. He's also a retired professor of African philosophy, SOPHIE OLUWOLE. Good morning and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much.
Let me say Happy New Year today. I mean to you.
Well, every day is a new year.
It's a new year. I see that. I also understand they call you Mama Lawo. Where did that come from?
Oh, well, Lawo is a Yoruba word. Used with Ifa. Okay. So the practitioner of Ifa is Baba Lawo. So if I'm a woman, it will be Mama Lawo. Unfortunately, I don't practice Ifa.
Oh, I see.
I study it as I'm a researcher. I want to know what it is. How did it originate? What does it mean? Is it religion? Is it philosophy? Is it science? But because I'm involved in the research, they think I'm practicing it. Some good scholars of Christianity are Muslims. And a good Christian can be a scholar of Islam. So it's my profession, not my faith.
I see. Very interesting. Well, let's begin to talk about issues ahead of the 2015 election. There are some of the school of thought that every nation has the kind of leaders or leadership that it deserves. That if we have corrupt leaders in Nigeria, for instance, it's a reflection of the corruption that persist in followership. What are your thoughts along that line?
Well, I think I've been following you, but my problem has been with the English language. What's the meaning of corruption? When I steal your money, am I corrupt? Or when I do what I'm not expected to do, I am supposed to employ somebody who has some qualifications, who doesn't have them, and I employ them. Is there a difference between stealing and corruption? I'm not denying that stealing is part of corruption, but let us be careful what we mean by corrupt. And I think when you say a state is corrupt, I don't know how many people you are talking about. Is it the ministers of state, or the ministers of God, or the imams, or the market woman, or the church goer, or the farmer? Where exactly do you locate corruption? Is it in individuals or in state? And if it's a state, who is the state? The people. So I'm turning around your question. Corruption starts when and ends when. I believe that if an individual is not corrupt, there are two possibilities. If he takes a public office, influences can make him become corrupt. He may fight, but he may lose. But if he insists, he may lose his job. So the man is between the sea and the devil. Do I go corrupt so that I keep my job, or do I keep my job? So corruption is a very elastic word in the English language. I think my summary is that we are not doing the right things at the right time. So the question is whether you do the right things at the right time. Let me ask you a question. When you study the American system, do you see the word corruption always coming up? It's not as popular as in Nigeria. And you want to tell me that Americans are not corrupt? I could remember very well a director of the Nigerian communication was interviewed in London. And he was told that Nigerians are corrupt. He did not deny it. But he said something that I will never forget. He said for every corrupt Nigerian, there's a corrupt Frenchman, a corrupt Englishman. And the man was furious. He said, we are talking of Nigeria. I said, well, if you want to do colonialism, talk of Nigeria, forget your own. I am not defending corruption. Let us be clear what corruption is and how much we lay emphasis on it. As if human beings are perfect human beings. We can complain, but not make it an ideology.
On the contrary, some believe that that is even the basis of our problem as a nation. They say that even if you bring a righteous individual, the system is so corrupt that the person starts.
How can the system be corrupt? A system, you see, that's why I say my English is not good. When I draw a square, they are just lines. When I draw a triangle, they are just lines. That's a system, but the people who operate it, the system cannot be corrupt. I mean, the constitution is such that it gives everybody what he should do. The executive, the legislature, is that corruption? But people who operate it, who practicalize it, are the ones who can be corrupt. So what do you mean by the system is corrupt? Are we the only one partisan presidential system in the world? Are you saying the presidential system is by design corrupt? I think we have to be careful. It's human beings who are corrupt. They carry it to where they go. Let me ask you a question. The Indians, the Chinese, the Pakistanis, are there no corruption? Is there no corruption there? But how much of it? How much emphasis? What do we do to reduce it? We may not be able to eliminate it. So if you say the system is corrupt, I will say yes. You know why? I want you to go back to the traditional way of getting leaders. The Bano people don't vote for election. They have rulers. Have you said they are corrupt? We know the next 10. Why don't you come back home and see what we used to do? Maybe we can get rid of corruption.
I was going to get there because many are also of the opinion that probably if we go back into time, that democracy wasn't really part of our cultural way of bringing up leadership. Could it also be one of the challenges we're having to
what is democracy, please?
A government whereby the leadership are being elected by the people.
The word election is imported, chosen. Everywhere in the world, you choose your leader. Through what means? By throwing in a sheet of paper. We didn't practice that. But we had a way of choosing a ruler. And there are some principles of justice. If you want to choose your ruler, how do you do it? Is it by dictatorship? Is it by the gun? No. The people will decide we want these people. How do they go through the process? Must it be by throwing sheets of paper? Not necessarily. But there are some important things. One, if the people are human beings, it must involve both men and women. Is that not democracy? So, is the Yoruba people traditional, are they more democratic than the Western? You will say no. Let me quote two things for you. When politics came into this country, we were told politics is not for women. Is that democracy? Where you say women are not supposed. And let me tell you what my first study shows me. Àgbà mẹ́rin ló ń ṣèlú, àgbà ọkùnrin, àgbà obìnrin, àgbà ọmọdé, àgbà àlejò. In other words, leadership is, the choosing of a leader should involve 4 people: men, women, young women. Is that not more democratic? So how can you say that the Yoruba people are not democratic? They allow that they know men should be there, women should be there, young people who are experienced should be there. Even somebody who is a foreigner who knows your system should be there. Define democracy.
But if I'm going to think of that relative to what we have now, for instance, in the Yoruba culture, the process of choosing the next ruler is confined to a limited number of people.
Who are they?
Unlike the civilian democracy where every body comes out to vote.
Well, let me modify your quality.
Okay.
Everybody does not come out to vote. Not everybody that is qualified.
Everybody qualified.
Everybody who qualifies. Who are they? 21 years, 18 years. Anybody who, we are coming down those who register. Is it everybody who registered? Those who register, is everybody who register come out to vote? You want to look at the issue of Nigeria for the past 25 years.
Ultimately, don't we have more people voting than relative to the Yoruba culture where it's elected?
I like your Western attitude. The more the merrier. Does number mean quality? Nice. Because you have more people, so your conclusion is better. Yes, I know they say 2 heads are better than 1, but 2 reasonable heads. Not the heads of hooligans. People don't know what democracy is about. My fear is that where did we learn to practice this system that we are practicing? It was imported here. We took it off the hook. My mother doesn't know. I don't know. I'm not a politician. And you ask me to behave. Like what? If you come from my village, from young, you will be schooled how to move up, how to talk in the public, how to address your elders. Did we go through that? Maybe I'm biased because I say I'm a professor of African philosophy. I wrote a new book and I'm telling the world if their democracy has been our own, it will be better. The Greek people started democracy. Women have no rights. America did not give women the right to vote until 1949. It's the same thing. And you call that democracy. That was male chauvinism. What was brought to this country was male chauvinism. We fought it to let women be there. So I am not saying the number is not important, but look for number or ideology. If I want to vote for anybody, is it because the people who are following are many, or because I know it can do something? I mean, we have to know have a value. A leader is supposed to be given some responsibilities. And the only reason why I will not vote for somebody is if I think that it cannot, it doesn't have the capacity. I may not. Whether 20 people are saying so, 1 person, but I think the number is all right. You see, you are talking of freedom. You are talking of equality. That's Western mentality. Sometimes the number may be a problem to us. I am not condemning it, but maybe our school curriculum is not all that. We should have involved the elements of democracy in every discipline, not political science alone. The doctor does not know political science, the engineer. And these are the people who are vying for office. How do we cope?
How do we bring this, your school of thought, to bear? Because now we don't have, look as if we have limited choices now. Elections are already rescheduled for March 28.
No, I'm not talking of this particular election. I'm talking of democracy generally. Election is scheduled. People are supposed to collect who are qualified, who have registered. We're asking whether the papers are ready. Then some people are saying not to have collected their own. Those are the worries. That's what worries me. If I'm qualified to and I've registered and my card is ready, why don't I pick it? The other side is I'm qualified, I cannot find my own. Those are the things that should worry us. Is it true that everybody who registered and is supposed to have a PVC has it? Is it true that most people or many people refuse to collect their own? Those are because we want everybody who's registered, who is qualified to have a card. He may not even go to vote, but if he wants to vote, unless he has a card, to me those are the intellectual aspects. I'm not talking of political stuff.
I understand. We're going to get there, but let's take a little detail because this is Africa, and we're also transmitting from southwestern Africa, where the culture has always been that of aura and respect for the elderly. Yeah. Before you came in, we were talking about certain remarks credited to the former president of Nigeria, GBOLA. Many are of the opinion, just like the last guest I had, that probably he wasn't taking the right steps, coming out to always antagonize the incumbent president. But how would what would be your thoughts along this line?
I don't want to comment on any personality. But you use one word that I want to explain. When you say something is not right, according to whom? You cannot determine right or wrongness unless the rules are there. In this part of the world, do we expect others to talk? Yes. Do you have something that will guide what they say? Yes. And I know Obasanjo, he knows the laws. There are two principles I discovered in Yoruba thought. It's better to tell the truth, even if you are castigated. But sometimes, Yoruba always say that, it's not everything you have in your mind that you say, even if it is true. I am not saying about just wrong or right, but we have some principles that determine what to say. If you say the truth and people should castigate you, fine, you're happy that you say the truth. But sometimes, you may have to evaluate the difference between truth and acceptability. So I don't want to comment on Obasanjo. I know he's the president, was the president. I know he means good for. If those who say he made a mistake are correct, it's a human being, they can correct the mistake. If it is not a mistake, so be it. So these are personal views about what he said. I want to say it's wrong, it's right, but no, we don't have the same attitude to what he said. Some people are saying yes, he should say. Some people are saying so. This is personal matters. So I don't want to say the man is not saying the right thing.
I see. Let me bring it back to elections. Some would also believe that everything falls and rises on leadership, as it is. What kind of leader or leadership really do you think Nigeria as a nation deserves?
Look, I'm happy that I'm studying the Yoruba tradition. Who is a leader? How do you become a leader? I will take two examples. Anybody, the Oba is a leader. He has gone through more than 40 steps. He's the leader of the children of his father. Then he becomes the leader of the children of his immediate family. And at every test, he's being trained and tested. Where did we train for leadership in this country? Let us leave that. Obama is president of America. How did he get there? How could you, without being a councillor, being a chairman of local government, being a governor, being a member of parliament, being a member of senate, to find yourself at the top and say you are leading? Do you know the people you are leading? Do you know the process? What you have not learned? I don't believe that anybody in America can become a president who has never become a senator or a governor or a member of House and so on. So leaders are born, but they're also trained. They are given experience. Which experience are we giving the people who want to be our leader? Do they go through the rank and file of policies from the rudimentary level? Because suddenly you are at the top, you are vice chancellor, you have never been to the classroom before. How do you know the problems of the lecturer? I think our leadership is reported questioned, and that's what we do. We speak English. Why? We dress in English. Why? Our universities are English. But it's not that. But there must be the kind of education we are giving, which should prepare us to be leaders and followers. Because
do you think our leadership lacks experience?
Yes. To lead the people, you have to know the people you are leading. You have to know that your choice will affect other people. You have to know what the interests of the people are. The word leader, I think we are using the word boss. A boss can say anything he likes. But if you are leading, they want to say me, you have followers. If there is no rapport between you and the people you are leading, if there is no experience, you know, I've never led people, I don't know. I went to the program before, a leader, somebody was accusing a leader of doing something wrong, and the leader was furious. Another man who was a leader of a group would say, is that how to be a leader? You are accused of something that you are furious, you will never solve the problem. You listen, and you have to take some beatings because you are a leader. This is like the head and clear the tongue. So you see, leadership is not a question of just sitting in a place. When you are there, you may be completely called off. There is something I complain about. If I go to the valley of my town, nobody is going to drive me back. I may speak to, but let me go to a governor's office. I will see two things: a police dog and machine guns, which means I'm cut off for my leader. So how can they sympathize with me? The kind of leadership we are cut off. You don't have direct. If I send a memo to Jonathan or to Buhari, will he get there? No matter how good what I'm saying is. What kind of leadership are we talking about? You have said the number of people that vote, fine. Is there any rapport? Is there any relationship? Does he know them? Does he know what their problems are? You may say we should know the problem of Nigeria as a country, but you cannot know the problem of Nigeria unless you know the problems of Nigerians. Is there a rapport between us and those who are leading us?
Would you say the Nigerian people or the electorate have been able to identify these traits of true leadership as we count down to the next general election?
Oh, well, I think that all of us talk of the dividend of democracy, and it worries me. The voters think that when they put somebody there, they must get something back. What exactly they want to get back, I'm not too sure. How they will get it, I'm not too sure. But I have told people, my mother voted 3 times in her life before she died. The first, some people came and promised her everything in the world. She did not get any. The second time they promised her everything in the world, she did not get any. The third time they came, she said, give me money. At least I'm sure I get that. That is corruption. But what is the source of that corruption? Failed promises. They are very difficult areas. The electorate is not a fool. He believes he will get something. But the question is, how many times has he gotten there? Whoever you choose in this country, have you gotten the promises? Like everything. Not only this regime. We became independent in 1960. We expected that the people we paid that will make this our living standard better. I'm not saying we're as bad as we were before, but there are quite a lot of things that we have not done. There are quite a lot that young children, girls, leaders, banks, and so there are a number of things that to be done. But then let us defend ourselves of time. America is 200 and something years old. How many years are you? We need experience. We shall make our mistakes. But my worry is that we must know the mistakes and try to correct them. Some of the things we call mistakes are not mistakes. They are part of democracy. But the real issues, are we talking about issues now or personalities? To me, government is about issues. The person, yes, but the issues are very crucial. I think we should have been discussing that since the last 4 years, not 2 weeks before election, so that we know exactly what are the crucial issues. It's not a matter of whether it's good or bad. I'm not here to campaign for anybody. But Nigerians who are not leaders, what are their problems? What do they want? What do they want the government to do for them? Are they sure of what they want? Are they sure that they can be done? Are there problems that America has not even solved? These are issues of reality, of life, of living. And I think that most people, and even the scholars, are not talking about it. They are talking of figures of votes. You vote for your enemy and you are in trouble. You vote for your friend, you are in trouble. So what do you do?
Personally, how optimistic are you, given the level of preparedness or preparation that you can perceive on the part of stakeholders like INEC, politicians, and even the electorate? How optimistic are you that this electoral event will lead Nigeria forward towards our destiny?
So, unfortunately, I'm not a prophetess. I believe that if every voter decides in his or her mind that my vote is going to somebody I believe will move forward, I can't go beyond that. I cannot predict. But I think we don't need violence. We don't need to fight ourselves. The votes that be counted, people are not stressing that. We be by individuals. We don't expect Obasanjo to vote 5 times, or Jonathan to vote 20 times, or Buhari 50 times. No, each of them has a vote. And is it a vote of conscience or of corruption? Is it a vote that if I vote, I will get something personally? Or that Nigeria, there's no doubt that some people are vying for offices. They want a particular person because they know they are close to them. That's different from the Nigerian. So I think we should put Nigeria first.
I see. I'm speaking with Professor Sophie OLUWOLE. She is a retired professor of African philosophy. And we're just going to open the phone lines very shortly, but I will have you speak specifically as regards the context of our discussion on this segment of the program. Will you call in and able to turn down the volume of your TV set so we can have a crystal clear communication? Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
You're welcome to Call Digest. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello, good morning.
I can hear you clearly. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Salisu. I'm calling from Nigeria.
Salisu, can you turn down the volume of your TV set?
Yes, John.
Please go ahead with your contribution, Salisu.
Good morning. Your guest, Prof, I really respect you.
Thank you very much.
The only thing I don't like about you, you don't like it to go into the detail of the system. You draw some questions. As a professor, you have to give us, and you are a professor of philosophy. You have given some plain clues.
Which question are you referring to in particular, Salisu?
All levels. I think next time you are only about the issue.
Just a minute. Before you go there, Salisu, can you hear me?
Because as a leader,
can you hear me, Salisu? Just a minute. Hello, are you there?
Yeah.
What of the questions really do you think my professor did not clearly establish our points so that we can refer to that?
Yeah, you know, when you put a question to her about President Obasanjo, he was just giving us, he was following talk. He doesn't go to the detail. He said he will not tell us the details. And to my surprise, as a professor of philosophy, you could have come down to our level and just let us know a little about.
She said she wasn't going to engage herself in talking about personalities.
But what am I as an ordinary citizen? As an ordinary citizen, Obasanjo is a great leader because we are in serious problems in Nigeria because things are going well in Nigeria.
It's all right, Salisu. I believe you made your point there. Someone like Salisu would have wanted you to pitch your tent to me.
I will answer him. The problem we have in this country is that we follow the Western thought. We say there's absolute truths. There's nothing like absolute. I have my personal views. He has his own. Why must I superimpose my personal views to him? There are people who believe in what Obasanjo said today. There are people who oppose it. Do I have to deny them the right of agreeing or disagreeing? So he wants me to say what I want. Am I a leader? Who am I? I am just saying that those who have a reason to say no, they have a reason. Do I say I should nullify one? This is a free society. There's free speech. There's freedom of speech. If he wants me to say what I think about Obasanjo, that is too personal and it's unfair to me on television. My ideas are personal on this issue, and it is not for him. Let him make him his mind. The fact that I'm a professor is to help you that you have two options. Either you agree or you don't disagree. I'm not an ideologist. I will not say you must agree with him or not. That is philosophy. Philosophy gives you the options. People may say yes, people may say no. Why must I say yes, no? That is personal and it's not relevant in this case.
I see. We have a tweet here from Yu Shehu, and he says what we have in Nigeria is not even close to being a leader. We only have rulers, not leaders in Nigeria. Are there any terms like that? Rulership?
There's rulership. A ruler is somebody who does not follow any law, who does what he wants, is a dictator, there is no constitution. But that is not always true. The British people have no constitution. Is it rulership? It is, look, a leader is somebody who tries to apply the principles of state management. There's some principles, human justice, fundamental human rights, education, and so on. Those are principles of government. If the country has written down principles of how this country, then you cannot say the man who is supposed to uphold it is a dictator. No, it's not. It's not a ruler. Because when you criticize a leader, you are criticizing within the constitution. He's not a completely free man, although he's in control. But he must do it according to the laws. So to me, I don't think it is right to say they are rulers, they are not. Because they don't decide what they are supposed to do have been streamlined for them, and they are supposed to follow.
We showed a clip earlier in 1961 when Sir Abubakar Tafawa Balewa visited the United States. What an amazing reception he had. We even saw white people on the streets of America, jubilating and waving their hands. Would you also say that the kind of diplomatic ties or relationship that now exists between your country and America is a function of the challenge of leadership?
What determines diplomacy? I don't want to go to that. I did a list of politics. Why will America support your country? Have you ever asked yourself? Is it just because you are good or you are satisfying them? Or they know the benefit they will get? I am not running down any government. If you go to a country and you are well respected, there is relationship. And in most cases, it's economic. So if you say that they will not receive my government today, it's not because my leader is good or bad. It's because of what it means to them. There's no objective relationship.
I see.
If you declare a country your enemy, it's because you think it's doing something that you don't like. If it's your friend, it's doing something. So if America will welcome Jonathan or Buhari, whoever becomes, ask us on what basis? Is it because that man is perfect, or because he's dancing to their tune? Or he's doing something they want him to do, or he's not doing something? Diplomacy is not just straightforward friendship. It's not straightforward evaluation. For me to become your girlfriend, I must see some values in you that will benefit me.
It's a symbiotic relationship.
So it's symbiotic. So they say that you welcome my leader, fine. But for what reasons? Maybe he's dancing to your tune, which may be against the nation. We know some leaders in this country who took some drastic steps, and America was against them. And the steps were in the interest of this country. So we have to be careful.
Let's take one more call, Professor, before we go on this segment. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Welcome to Call Digest.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Good morning. It's still morning. Are you so much in a haste? What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good afternoon. Yeah, good afternoon.
Good morning. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Chibuzo.
Chibuzo. From Anambra. Okay, go ahead with your contribution, Chibuzo.
Yes. I want to take on Obasanjo. Yeah?
All right.
On the Obasanjo issue. Obasanjo is a statesman, and he has the freedom of speech. And all what he says about correction, and not saying that it's criticizing the government. When he sees what happens, he will say it out. And that is how some ordinary men, the public people will know what's happening in the country. So what he did is all wrong. So it don't need of anybody criticizing him.
It's all right.
I really know that this country is the government, people in government are all corrupt. Good representatives might be good. There's no doubt about it.
It's all right. I believe you made your point there. How exactly do you think it was in the traditional African world when a leader is perceived not to be doing the right things? When a leader is perceived not to be following the right path, do we have elder statesmen talk about their weaknesses or the rally around?
That was what I was discussing with your driver on the way.
I see.
I will take two examples. I think the Yoruba, because we have different democracies, the Igbos have their own, but the Yoruba one. If the Yoruba is not doing what the people expect him to do, there are many ways of doing it. One, the conventional view that the Yoruba is a dictator is wrong. He has some chiefs who act with him in council. For example, in Oyo, there are 9 Oyo Mesi. And if you have the meaning of that, Oyo Mesi, the Oyo people know the answer. So when he behaves, the 6 people are supposed to represent the people. The 9 are telling, this thing you are doing, you are not doing it right. The people don't like it. There's always checks and balances, privately conducted, not on the pages of newspaper, not on television. They talk to him, they make him serious, they tell him what they expect him to do.
What happens in a situation where he doesn't agree?
When he doesn't, there are 3 possibilities. They say, they are gentlemen. Behave like a man. Join your ancestors. That is, ask him to commit suicide. If he doesn't, they will help him to commit suicide. As a woman, they know Yaba.
Are you talking about assassination?
No, that's the political position of Yaba. When that woman says, open your mouth, you must open it. The alternative is going to exile. Because power belongs to the people. Who are those people today who are the Oyomis of this country? Who, when the leader is going wrong, they call him into a chamber and tell him what they expect him to do, and they expect him to do it. And if he doesn't do it, in Europe it is science. They put pressure. You can even withdraw. And so the tradition is also, they know it can be wrong. They can correct it. But you know the problem. In the history books, you don't know the difference. In Britain, Charles I did something the people did not like. What did they do? They put him in the marketplace and cut off his head publicly. I remember in 1960, Nnamdi reminded us that Africans have a more beautiful way of doing it. We don't exploit our problems in the market, we do it inside the house. There's always a balance and check. So traditionally, a bad ruler, a bad Oba cannot continue unchecked. They give him the option to repent. In Yoruba, think, no, you are wrong, change. If he doesn't, they deal with him.
One final call before I let the professor go this morning. Quite an interesting chat with her. Hello, good morning.
Hello, it's Tochukwu from Anambra.
Okay, Tochukwu, you have just 1 minute.
Okay, let me restrict myself to the topic in discussion.
Fantastic.
I think I want to agree with the Prof with some of our actions. You see, the problem with Nigeria and Africa at large is that we tend to be more Western than the Western countries. You see, the democracy itself we are practicing, we should be able to understand that this democracy, though, has a universal acceptability. It doesn't have the universal applicability. Its applicability differs from individual countries to individual countries. You see, and the type of leaders we need is such leaders that will look inward and explore the moral and value we Africans are known for. You see, in our culture, we don't insult leaders. It's on African. In our culture, we don't give responsibilities to those with questionable characters. And this leads us to come to question and identify the incidents of moral decadence in our society. So as Nigerians, we should be able to encourage those things that promote our values and don't be more Western than the Westerners. Thank you. I want to stop here.
Thank you very much, Anambra. Tochukwu, I beg your pardon, calling from Anambra. Mama, thank you very much for joining us today. I can spend hours with you, but we have to.
Finally, that if you read the textbooks, the Master President is not necessarily the best form of government, but we have not discovered the better one. It's not the best because there are some problems being built into democracy itself. The other callers want me to come here and condemn Obasanjo or applaud them. I don't come here to represent a political position. I'm a scholar. There's nothing that doesn't have two sides. So I leave you to make your own mind. Why must I say it's right, it's wrong? That is not for me. But we have to say that if democracy is a system practiced by human beings, and human beings are not perfect, they will continue to make mistakes. But there's something I want to say for Nigeria. Our experience since 1999 has given us experience. We are becoming better and better. We are moving up. We have not reached where we want to move. But you can't tell me that the democracy of 1960 is exactly what it is this year. That is a sign that we are moving, and that is what human beings will be. We cannot become God, but we make a mistake, but we must learn for my business.
Thank you very much for your contribution. Having spoken with Professor Sophie OLUWOLE. She's a veteran public affairs analyst and also retired professor of African philosophy. Good to have you join us always, man. Always see you. Okay, it's a wrap on the show this morning. Thank you for watching. Of course, I'll be here tomorrow again, God willing. Stick around for the top of the hour news. You can also watch a repeat of this show on the internet. All you need to do is log on to www.coretvnews.com and you'll be able to view us on YouTube. There's also a repeat broadcast coming at 12 midnight. Stick around. Don't go away.
Core TV News, expanding your view.